final practice in Mexico City, and it was Sergio Perez who topped the timing charts with an impressive 1 minute 17.024, the best lap of the weekend so far, almost 0.2 quicker than teammate Max Verstappen. Perez hasn't made Q3 in Mexico City since 2017, but barring a mishap, he has every chance of breaking that unwanted record on Saturday afternoon. The Autódromo Hermanos Rodriguez circuit sits at the highest altitude of any F1 track, some 2,200 meters above sea level, and the thin air suits the Red Bull's turbo and rake. Defending champion Lewis Hamilton had another big lockup at turn 1, just as he and Mercedes teammate Valtteri Bottas had on Friday. The Silver Arrow's best laps were only good enough for P3 and P4, and the deficit was apparent to all.
P3 at the moment, it's 6.5 tenths at Perez P1.
6.5 tenths.
Carlos Sainz hasn't scored a point here in his 5 previous attempts, but comes into this weekend on a 10-race scoring streak. And with some decent performances already under his belt, the Spaniard looks good to break his Mexican duck. Both Ferraris found themselves fishtailing over the dusty circuit.
Yeah, nice.
Ferrari and McLaren are locked in a close battle for P3 in the Constructors' Championship, the Papaya team with a 3.5-point lead over the Scuderia. The Reds had the edge on Friday and again demonstrated they were more suited to the circuit's characteristics, the Spaniard with a time good enough for P5. Charles Leclerc had a slight wobble at turn 5 and a spin at turn 3, the Monegasque's best tour taking him to P9. Compared to his Friday performance, Daniel Ricciardo had a better practice session, despite a brief scare at turn 3, where he took a bit too much curb. He finished a respectable P7. Lando Norris is in a tight fight with Perez for P4 in the drivers' standings, trailing by just a single point. However, the Briton's chances to close the gap have got thinner, as he will incur a grid penalty for taking new components in his power unit. During FP3, the McLaren driver had a couple of lockups at turn 1.
Any particular reason I locked up, or just too much brake pressure? Too much brake pressure.
It's also a close battle for P5 in the team's title race between Alpine and AlphaTauri. The French outfit have a 10-point lead, and both Pierre Gasly and Yuki Tsunoda looked strong. The Japanese driver P6, the Frenchman P8 as the flag fell. Fernando Alonso was another to overshoot turn 1 as Alpine completed a disappointing below-par performance. Esteban Ocon is another who'll start the race from the back of the grid after taking new power unit components. George Russell's gearbox issues could not be resolved overnight, so the Briton will face a 5-place grid penalty for Sunday's race, making a good qualifying show essential for the Mercedes-bound driver. So a Red Bull 1-2, with the Mercedes pair a good way back in 3rd and 4th, ahead of Sainz, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Gasly, Leclerc and Norris. Lance Stroll P11, the best of the Aston Martins, ahead of the Alfa Romeo pairing of Kimi Raikkonen and Antonio Giovinazzi. Then Sebastian Vettel, Alonso, Ocon and Russell, with Nicholas Latifi P19, sandwiched between the Hasses of Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin.